So if we do these things, he says, then the peace of Elohim. Yeshua said, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. John 14:27 says, the peace of Elohim, which surpasses understanding. In other words, it makes no sense to the world, to your flesh, how that peace should be there with this circumstances going on. The peace is beyond the ability to understand how you can have peace when all of this stuff is happening. He says, how do you have peace when you're Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they're throwing you in the fire? How can you have peace when you're Daniel and they're throwing you into the lion's den? How can you have peace standing by the sea with Pharaoh behind you and the rocks and the cliffs and there's no place to go but the water? You don't have peace because you in your flesh, you can't see the solution. You can't see why this plays out in his plan somehow. And so you have this perceived threat, this perceived adverse consequence. That's where the worry comes from. He says, why are you worried? I've got this all under control. You shema, you covenant, you hear, you do, and you trust. That's really your life. Your whole life, to hear, to get the guidance and instruction to make sure you understand what you heard, to do it, and then to trust that that's all you need to do. Life is not really complicated. Our problem is that we don't get immediate results. We don't get the fruit we're looking for, that result we're looking for immediately. But our life is very simple, and the Torah is very simple. He says, my covenant with you doesn't require 400 pages, like sometimes a law being passed, a bill in Congress. It's very simple. If you will obey my voice. Now, bear in mind that the obeying the voice implies a huge amount of trust. It's that emunah that's required. If you will obey my voice, in other words, trusting that what I say will give you and bring you what you want ultimately. What do we want ultimately? To be happy, to have peace. It's really the two main things. I want to be happy and I want to have peace. If you are dejected, rejected, if you are depressed, if you are worried, fearful, anxiety, panic, stress, there's no peace there and you're not happy. But you want to be happy. He promises you will be happy. Maybe not now, maybe not next year, but you'll be happy. By the way, if you really wanted to understand this, you can be happy right now. It's a choice. James confuses us all when he says, count it all joy when you're in trials. What? That's not my sort of choice of thoughts when I'm in a trial. Hey, yay, I'm in a trial. And you could choose to be. You could choose to be joyful. Excuse me. Knowing that going through it will bear fruit. Peaceable fruit, really. So he says, and the peace of Elohim, which surpasses understanding, that peace, if you did the first processes, will then guard your heart and your mind. So from the rejoicing, from the petitioning, from the Shema and everything else that we're talking about, that's how you receive when Yeshua says, my peace I give to you. It's not as the world would give it. The world's going to give you peace by treaties and by, whatever. He's going to give you peace through your life, through learning to trust him, to trust the Father, to trust the Son, to trust the process, the protocol, the program, whatever word you want to call it. They've given you the system that works. I speak, you listen. That's what he says.